Hello and welcome everyone. I am Miss Momo and I am your AS and A-level sociology teacher, and today we're going to be doing family under the topic of sociology, and we're going to be focusing on that. So, family is an institution in socialization that derives from marriage, blood, or adoption. So we're going to start with the types of family that we are going to be focusing on. So first of all, we have the nuclear family. So the nuclear family is considered the normal family in society, where we have the mother, the father, and children. And then we have the extended family. So the extended family will include a mother, father, children, and siblings. And we have aunts and uncles and cousins. And then we have the single parent family. So the single parent family can derive from either death or divorce, where we have one parent, could be a mother mostly, or could be a father parenting or handling a family. And then we have the polygamous family. So the polygamous family has two parts. We have the polygamy and the polyandry. So the polygamy is where we have one man or one husband and has multiple wives. And the polyandry is where we have one woman or one wife who has multiple husbands. And it is rare in most cases. And then we have the child-headed family. So the child-headed family is where we have a child, could be an older sibling, is taking care of the family or other siblings. And this could derive from having both parents having died or abandoned in other cases. And then we are going to move on to the roles of the family. So first of all, the roles of the family are reproduction. So the family is considered to supposed to be reproducing more citizens into society. So that is mostly the job of the parents, to actually to have more children that are going to be institutionalized or enter into the society. And then socialization. So it's supposed to teach norms and values, mostly done by parents. They're supposed to teach their children the norms and values that are considered appropriate or accepted in society. And then economic support. So it's supposed to be a working father or working mother, and they're supposed to help each other support economically their family, produce shelter and food and anything that they need. And then we have emotional support. So the family is supposed to teach us, comfort us, and be with us whenever we need them. So that's one of the roles for family. And we have regulation of sexual behavior. So this is considered the important part socially, about when we have parents, mother and father, they're teaching their children that sexual accepted behavior is when you have a partner outside your family. So without these points, we see things like incest, and these are taboo relationships where you are in a relationship with someone within your family, could be a sibling, could be an extended family member. So without this regulation of sexual behavior, incest could have been illegal. So now we have problems that are faced by families. So we have divorce and separation. So divorce and separation is something the family would face where two individuals or two spouses are no longer feeling to be together. It could be pressure, it could be abuse, and then we have separation where they just feel right now we are no longer compatible to be together. And then we have domestic violence. Either the husband could be beating the wife, or the wife could be assaulting the husband, and this could be another thing that could cause divorce in a marriage or separation in a marriage. And we have poverty and unemployment. So usually industrialization and urbanization can be a factor where we have a problem where the husband would come from a rural area and go to an urban area, and they're being and now there's a drift within the marriage or a drift within the parents. And so now we have poverty, where the husband or the wife could choose, oh, we're not supposed to stay here now. We can move on to a place where we have wealth. Or it could be just poverty within the family that's striking a rift where the wife no longer wants to stay with the husband because they are not meeting up with the standards that they think is acceptable. And unemployment with the husband or the wife could not be bringing any income support into the family, and so this was going to cause something of a rift or separation in the marriage. And then we have child neglect and abuse. That is going to cause child-headed family. This could be a problem within families where now there is a tension where children are no longer being cared for, and something that could cause a rift within the family. So we're going to focus on sociological perspectives in family. So already I had mentioned that we have the functionalist perspective, Marxist perspective, and the feminism perspective, and interactional perspective. So we're going to start focusing on the functionalist perspective and its conflicting theory, which is the Marxist perspective. So in the functionalist perspective, it sees society as a working body. So all parts of the society function or are relative. Therefore, the family is also a functioning institution within society. So it is needed. So functionalists like Emil Durkheim and Talcott Parsons see society that it should need a family. Without a family, there will be no socialization, because everybody starts with a family, and that's where we learn socialization, like norms and values and language, because without language there will be no communication, and without learning norms and values we see many criminals, we see many instances like because we do not have learned any regulation of sexual behavior. So functionalists see that it is needed to have a family in society. And you will see later on when we have questions that there will be some questions where they say, is it true to an extent that we need a functioning society with family involved? And then we have the Marxist perspective. So the Marxist perspective is the conflicting theory of functionalism, basically saying it contradicts functionalism, saying family is also a part of society that creates inequality. So why, you may ask? So in a family we have a hierarchy where the father is considered to be on top, followed by the mother and then the children. And within the children, the boys are always seen at a high place and the girls. So already there's a hierarchy and an inequality. So men are considered the ones to have more power in the family. So we're seeing where the females are already put below the males, and so there is inequality there. And we have inequality due to labor. Males in a family don't do much as females in a family, and women or the wives are considered to do more, and already that means the females are being put under or less recognized in family roles. And then we have the feminism perspective. So the feminism perspective usually goes to the side of the Marxist perspective. It's usually a brother and sister relationship going on with these two perspectives. So the feminism perspective focuses on patriarchy in a family, claiming or stating that there is a patriarchy kingdom or rule in family where the males or the husbands take control of family and put the females underneath them. And there's also unpaid labor, focusing on females doing all the cooking, the cleaning, and they're not even paid for that. And it is seen as something that is normal in families. And we have families such as African traditions or central traditions, like from the Arabs or any Eastern Asian society, where they don't even recognize women at all in families, and they want or consider or require rather women to do more in families than men. Men are just there for power and for wealth reasons. So these are the sociological perspectives on family. Now we can move on to marriage and divorce. So marriage is the legal union between a man and a woman, and we're now going to start on the types of marriages that we have in society. So we have monogamy, where we have So we have polyandry and polygyny. So polyandry is when we have one woman with several husbands. Polygyny is when we have one man with several wives. And then we have exogamy. So exogamy is marriage outside of one social group. So this is mainly conducted in caste societies where it is mainly common in India within the Hindu religion. And then we have the religion is also a factor in exogamy where we have one Muslim marries a Christian or a Christian marries a Muslim. And then we have endogamy. So endogamy as well is also practiced in caste religions where we have upper societal classes in India who marry just from that type of class, and the lower class marry the lower class. So marriage within the same group. Islam, people marrying people from Islam religion, and Christians marrying Christians as well. And then we have love marriages. So this is when a man and a woman fall in love and then get married out of their own free will of love. And then we have arranged marriages. So this usually happens when we have parents or extended family members or any guardian decide that these two cannot choose their partners, so we decide to choose for them, and then it is going to be an arranged marriage. So the functions of marriage are it regulates sexual behavior. One. So remember we mentioned that family is supposed to teach the regulation of sexual behavior by explaining that you are to marry outside your family and not marry within your family. So marriage does that. So if you marry someone from outside of your family, you are regulating sexual behavior, and then it produces and raises children. So we have marriages, and then we are required to produce children that are going to go into the society and increase the population, and you're supposed to raise them and socialize them into society. And then we have number 3, which is it provides companionship and emotional support. So in the family, in a marriage, you're supposed to make sure that your partner is experiencing emotional support from you, and you're also experiencing emotional support and comfort from your partner, making sure that you do not feel lonely. So marriage does that. So you cannot be having emotional support for a boyfriend or a person you're currently dating, but from a lifelong partner, you are guaranteed to gain that. And then number 4, it strengthens social and family bonds. So in a social bond, that's when we have other married couples meeting and making sure that they experience married life together. Also talking about the strengths and weaknesses together of marriage. Also, it's a social status where we have some men saying, I have everything, I have a family, I have a wife, and I have everything figured out. So it's creating social bonding in that as well. In family bonds, we reach 2 people already coming from different backgrounds. So we have a man coming from his side of the family, and then a woman coming from her side of the family, and meeting and creating an actual one big family bond. And then number 5, it maintains social stability. So without marriage, according to functionalist perspective, we already have an unequal or an unstable society, because marriage is considered one of the key institutions in society where they make a stable society. So now moving on, we move on to divorce. So divorce is a legal or social termination of marriage. So there are many causes of divorce, but let's name the few. So number 1 is infertility. So infertility can be a cause for divorce, because usually if it is required by society that if you get married, you're supposed to produce children. So it's abnormal to society if the married couple gets married for probably 10 years or more and they do not produce children. So this creates already tension within the marriage, because now they're not producing the things that are required by society. So then it leads to divorce, and usually this is a thing that is needed or is required first by the husband divorcing the wife. And then number 2 is domestic violence. So domestic violence within a marriage where we have a husband either hitting the wife or the wife either hitting the husband. So this already is creating tension within the marriage because it is not right to condone any physical behavior or violence towards another person. So this could be a cause for divorce as well. And then we have infertility. And then there is also women independence. So women independence is when we have a woman decides that I am more educated and don't require a man to be with me, and therefore I can be independent and move on with my life and choose to not be with my husband at all. So the effects of divorce are various and depend either on the effect of the children or the effect of the partner. So we're going to focus on the effects first. So it is emotional stress and financial difficulties. So an emotional stress, this could be affecting both partners because already you were telling each other that you will be together forever. So now that you're divorcing, it kind of strains your emotions. Either the one who is requiring the divorce or the one who is going to have to sign the papers for divorce. And then on financial difficulties, already as a family or as a married couple, you were sharing finance within your household. So now you're going to have factors where one partner is going to have to struggle because they were earning less than the other partner, and or it could be you were more dependent on the other partner for financing some of the requirements for the family or the marriage. So now the effects on the children can cause emotional distress on the children, can cause stress on the children, and can cause children to not feel welcomed within their family as well. And on effects on the actual partners, it could be freeing in terms of domestic violence or infidelity when the man is cheating, or infertility where the woman now feels, oh, I'm free, I don't need to bring children into this relationship or this marriage. So now let's focus on social perspective on marriage or divorce. So let's start with marriage. So social perspectives that we're going to focus on are functionalism, Marxism, and feminism. So on functionalism, we're going to be focusing on how the functionalists see marriage as an institution that is needed within the family, because already it regulates sexual behavior. So therefore, it is a needed part in society, because now we no longer have cases of incest or cases of where there is rape cases. So functionalism sees marriage as something that is needed in the society, and it makes society whole. So therefore, it's basically a cherry on top of a cake that is family. And then on the Marxist perspective, the conflict theory of functionalism, it sees again marriage as an inequality institution in society, focusing on how marriage is only seen as a social status for other people. So basically what Marxist theories are basically talking about is how people only get married for social status, just for to be seen as one of those that got married, one of those that got in life and got married. But then it also focuses on inequality within the family or within the marriage about the gender. So basically, the Marxist theories are talking about how the men in the marriage have more power than the women in the marriage, just like the sister perspective feminism that we're going to be focusing on now, which tells us that marriage again is a way for the patriarchy to control the women, a way for the patriarchy to be on top of the women and therefore not contribute anything, and the women again are having paid labor within their marriage. So the functionalists see marriage is something that is needed in society, but the Marxists and the feminists contradict this theory. So we are going to be focusing on divorce according to the sociological perspectives. So on functionalism does not condone divorce because it sees divorce as something that can break society into half, because now we don't have a happy family. And what does functionalists require? A happy family equal a happy society. So without marriage, now we have broken homes and we have broken children that is going to lead to crime and deviance. And then, however, the Marxists and the feminists are together in this way that they see divorce as a freeing agent to the inequality, focusing on independence within other half that required divorce. Feminism is saying it is a freeing agent for the women because now they are more independent and are financially independent as well, not having to require another person's agreement in order to use their finance. And Marxist focuses on how it is a freeing agent on inequality. Now everyone is an individual and can focus on their individual self. Now let's focus on how we would answer questions if we're given questions pertaining particular topics like this. So first thing we need to do is answering questions that need defining. So for instance, it says define the family. So questions that need defining just means get straight to the answer. So it's the family is a social institution made up of people related by blood, marriage, or adoption. No need to beat around the bush, no need to write an actual big paragraph for just defining. And then we move on to how to answer explaining questions, where you're required to explain. For instance, they'll ask you, explain a function of the family. So what you need to do is point to that particular point that you're going to focus on and explain it and give an example. For instance, my answer would be socialization. So the family teaches socialization through norms, values, and acceptable behavior, such as parents teaching respect and manners to their children. And then we go on to how to answer discuss questions. So what you need to know is discuss questions are mostly two-part questions. So what are two-part questions? They are essay questions. So in two-part questions we have to introduce. So we need an introduction, and then you have an A side, which could be for the question, like for the topic, or part B will be for against the question, or you can do it vice versa. And then the last part would be conclusion. So let's say they give you a question like discuss the effects of divorce on society. So we will have introduction. So the introduction means define divorce. So it's probably going to be around 3 or 4 lines, and you're going to be introducing the reader into the question. And then we have the positive effect, the A side. So you're going to be explaining like freedom from unhappy marriages. And then we will have the negative effect, which is the B side, where you're going to be explaining some things like family breakdown or single parenting. And then the conclusion. So now in the conclusion, you're telling us both sides, the positive and the negative side, and you're going to be giving us what you would think is the best side among these two, between these two sides. And then we're going to be talking about mistakes to avoid when writing discuss questions, or in fact all the questions. So we have number 1, not giving examples. In sociology, it is a subject where you need examples, because already we're focusing on society and we're focusing on societal things. So we need no more real life examples, so that we spice up our essays and we make sure that the reader knows that we know what we're doing. Or number 2, ignoring commands. So already we have questions like define the family, or how to answer explaining questions. So you could ignore how it's saying explain this question and then just go over it and start defining. Or you could have a question which requires you to discuss, meaning it's a two-part question and then you give us a one-part answer. So that's also ignoring a command. And then the next one is writing too little for high mark questions. So already you know a discuss question is going to give you at least 30 marks. And then you write like a half a page and it's going to be so little information on that particular question that required at least for you to write 2 pages. So now that's going to be an error and it's going to fail you in your particular subject. So these are the issues that you should avoid when answering any questions. But it should be noted that when you're writing discuss questions or assessing questions, all these questions are essays questions. So that means these are high mark questions and these are questions that you should look out for and particularly take your time. So that's it for today on sociology on family, marriage and divorce. See you next time.